So, hello, we are live now. I hope you can hear me. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to welcome all the people watching us now. Today is the third attempt in our row of CAT, Critical Artist Talks. And today we are streaming live from, I'm in Dnipro, Ukraine. Theo and Kostis are in Athens, and our platform, administrated by Sasha Finsterbusch, is in Osorno in Chile. So we are very international. Don't want to talk so much. We have two very special guests today from Athens, Kostis Stafylakis and Theo Triantafyllidis. Welcome, both of you. We will talk about your project, Readiness. The Readiness project is a kind of very, I don't know exactly how to denominate it, so you will do it for us. The Readiness is eclectic presentation, performance theater, and has a lot of background. It's practically working and talking about the actual situation, the social struggles in the United States. And it's actually super up to date, for say something. And yes, I think we start directly with Kostis and Theo. I would like you to introduce yourself shortly, and then go on with the project Readiness. Be prepared for a civil war for today. Thank you very much. So please, Theo or Kostis, one of you could start then. Kostis? Okay, Kostis.
Okay, everyone is pointing to my direction. Hi, I'm Kostis Stafylakis. I'm a visual artist and an art theorist and author as well. I am, let's say, one of the members of this team that produces and scripts and presents Readiness, the Readiness SAGA, which is a series of episodes that we have prepared with Theo Triantafyllidis and a sifting number of artists and collaborators and participants that help us produce and carry out this experiment. It's one of my recent participations in a creative procedure during this very weird period of the pandemic, when one feels this absolute entrapment in a situation of solitude and isolation and alienation. And it was a very invigorating moment for me to find ways to connect with other people and to produce a participatory artwork structure that meant something for a greater team of people. I guess that in tonight's presentation we're going to take you through the various steps of the Readiness SAGA, of the Readiness project. I won't tell you too much in advance. Theo is also going to be showing us different bits and pieces from this project, and we will all try to contextualize what we've done up until now. So, Theo.
Yeah, my name is Theo Triantafyllidis. I have a background in architecture and have been trained as a media artist in UCLA. I'm based in Los Angeles usually, but have been in Athens for the past few months. Yeah, I'm really excited to present Readiness to you all, and hopefully, as I was saying to some of my friends, this might be your chance to make sense of this project. I know some of you might have seen like a few different iterations and a few different live streams, some easier and some harder to watch. But hopefully this will kind of give a better context of what we're trying to do with this project. And Pablo?
Yes, what I wanted to add, the audience, people who are watching us, can make questions via Facebook, which we will try to answer maybe in the end or during the session. So short advice or idea for people who have some questions. So please, Theo, go on.
Yeah, so we're going to be showing you a lot of behind the scenes, explaining a little bit of the process, and also on a parallel track, we'll be talking a little bit about the different sides of chaotic realities that were playing out in the meantime as the piece was developing. And because this was a very open and experimental process, we tried to be very spontaneous and sort of respond to different kind of environmental inputs that we were having during the project. I don't know, Kostis, if you want to talk about this.
Well, I guess that's a start. It's a starting point. It's on the left, you can see a picture of myself when I was really young. Should be the late 70s or the early 80s. I can't really tell, but it's me underneath that TV box there. I developed a special love for this furniture, which is also like a cage or a trap. And I'm sort of in this picture, I'm trapped in this apparatus of spectacle, which I think resonates with the more recent material we are going to be projecting today, which is also various forms of isolation, entrapment, cages and stuff like that. We are going to take you through this forms of violence and alienation. And on the right-hand side, you can see Theo Triantafyllidis.
Yeah, with my two siblings being ready for action. You will see this was probably some kind of traumatic experience that led to some of the things you will see later. But I was pretty fond of cosplaying, if I can use this term for this situation. Let's move on, and Kostis, you want to give us a little bit of a context for the prepper mentality?
Yeah. It all started with an urge to tackle the popularity of the culture of preppers in contemporary America, but also in Europe and Greece as well, and Germany as well. Germany is a country of preppers, as we came to know. This is the prototype for survival bunkers. The preppers is a modern contemporary term to describe survivalists, which is a habitual culture in America. These are bunkers in nuclear bunkers in South Dakota that have recently, some of them, been transformed into luxurious doomsday survival bunkers. There's a photograph that sort of the next slide is telling. Yeah, as you can see. Although the culture of preppers and prepping and preparedness has been there for quite a while throughout the decades of the 20th century and the new century, there is an updated interest in the way preppers affect political and cultural milieu. today because of the relation between the culture of prepping and preppers with extremist right-wing militias in contemporary America. And some of them, as you may know, wish to declare a new civil war. And there's also a strange link that updated this culture. Preppers culture suddenly becomes a thing for Silicon Valley venture capitalists, people like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and so on, develop a certain interest in prepping, in preparing, and in surviving, and in superseding the limits of this of the Anthropocene and of the planetary condition, in order to save themselves from an impending doomsday. And this transhumanist and accelerationist ideal that was popularized in the recent years, especially during the era of Donald Trump, is somehow symbolizes this kind of update interest in prepping, not just a habitual kind of everyday hobbyist activity, but also as a sort of a teleological idea of apocalyptic idea of the world. Doomsday preppers are everywhere. For example, in 2019, there was a scandal with Merkel's party, and they actually discovered some sort of links between the CDU and German preppers and German right-wing preppers. This is, as you can see in this photo, in this slide, this is a perfect prepper's kit. This is the stuff that a prepper should own and keep ready in the case of an apocalypse, of a doomsday, of a civil collapse, of an unwanted scenario of unrest and an emergency. So this is what the numerous preppers online, on the vlogs, on their channels, on the blogs should tell you to have. And this kind of arrangement has been an inspiration for an arsenal that we are developing throughout the project of Readiness, which is a method to delve into this culture. Let me see the next slide, if possible. Yes, this is the difference, and Theo is going to tell you more about it, between the fantasy aspect of prepping and for preparing for the apocalypse, and the reality of it, the way it actually played out in the pandemic and post-pandemic era. We started developing this project, and the ideas and the design for this project a year before the pandemic started to spread, and our view of things radically changed from a fantasy and mythological aspect into a literal vision of prepping, of how prepping is during the recent months of consecutive lockdowns. Theo, you wish to explain the difference in that?
I think, well, I don't remember if Kostis mentioned this, but we basically started the project a few months before coronavirus began, and basically it was the preppers was a very core aspect of the whole project, and it was very interesting for us to see how on the one hand the prepper community was secretly very excited that the pandemic happened and it turned into a worldwide apocalypse, And at the same time, it was very interesting to see how this apocalypse was the complete opposite of anything Hollywood or any fantasy of the apocalypse has ever depicted. And it turned out to be, it started out as this very very domestic and very private pajama party, and as the tensions started to rise and like people started getting like started having some psychological pushback from this situation, together with of course the raging political injustices. That was a very like explosive mix that we saw develop over the course of the pandemic. Yeah, maybe I can keep talking, Kostis, I think. Where are we now?
This is
Or you
if
want
we
to
go
go?
back, yes. This is
Go
sort of
ahead.
crucial because there is something fundamentally performative about the preppers culture. They have their own blogs. They do vlogging. They present their ideas and they try to communicate their ideas regarding preparedness to other potential preppers or to the general audience. And this has led into an online digital culture with sort of preppers addressing issues of security and everyday protection from inevitable catastrophes. And there is a playful aspect in that, and sometimes it's geeky. A character is linked to gaming culture itself and to role-playing culture. And in this case, we have an example of Dungeons and Dragons session for preppers. So the theme of this session is prepping and the details of preparedness, but it's done in a Dungeons and Dragons manner. I'm not sure whether you are aware of this particular gaming culture. It was since the start. It was interesting that this kind of cultures somehow interweave and seem to be developing in parallel. And this offered us an idea to basically appropriate this and co-opt this model into a playful artistic method that we developed throughout the different iterations of the Readiness project. There is a Readiness mythology and fiction as well, which is very interesting to us, and sort of became, yeah, well, this is the real thing. Okay, this is the real thing. This is like real right-wingers, and this is the Greek thing. This is Nikos Hardalias. He's the deputy minister of civil protection in the time of the pandemic, and he's somehow the Greek prototype of a prepper, the one who carries some sort of inner knowledge about ways of preparedness and protection and civil protection. So he's an image of a macho father of the nation, protective father figure for some of some parts of the Greek society, I guess. But he's an prepper as well. I would say he's the prototype of the of a prepper. There is a mythology of preppers that led to this, and there is preppers fiction, and one of the authors who has written very popular books on the preppers and on surviving and on survivalist culture is James Wesley Rowles, a very popular author, producing fiction with patriotic and survivalist storylines. And one of the terms that he has introduced and coined is the idea of the Golden Horde, which seems to be rather popular among the preppers community. And of course, the Golden Horde is a historical term. It refers to the 13th century horde of the Mongols that reached the European ground, and so they adopted. Wesley Rolls adopted this historical term, to refer to a supposed horde of the unprepared, the people of the cities, who will starve because of the exhaustion of food and other resources in the city, and will eventually form groups of people, a horde, that will reach out to the countryside and try to basically steal and consume everything that there is there. So some members of the horde, of the unprepared, will remember that the preppers had built their bunkers in the countryside, and that they stockpiled food, and that they have reserves of food there, and they're going to reach out to steal the food of the preppers. So contemporary prepping at various points begins with scenarios, with sort of crafting scenarios about how to deal with the potential of a golden horde raiding the countryside to sort of steal what is left of it. So the Readiness SAGA is an ongoing battle. It's the leitmotif of the saga is a battle between the preppers, or a group of preppers, and the golden horde, a golden horde, something like that. So in this first iteration that we realized in May 2020, we were invited by the Onassis Foundation to participate in an exhibition called Enter, presenting online digital works produced during the time of the pandemic, and we designed this Dungeons and Dragons setting and role-play game as a battle between the preppers and the golden horde. It was basically a board game. So I was playing the dungeon master, and I had a set of pawns in front of me, and I was sort of moving the pawns, the different characters, according to the answers provided by the audience, which was communicating to us through the online YouTube chat. So I was asking them questions, which were all relevant to the preppers culture and to the idea of preparedness, like, for example, how to preserve food, or how to stockpile food in air, in an air vacuum, in order to preserve it better. And if they provided the right answer, then the pawns of the preppers would make a move and protect this trophy, this sacred object, which happens to be at the center of the board. This egg-shaped trophy, which belongs to the preppers, would protect this sacred egg, from the attack of the golden horde, which resided in a system of pipelines, ready to attack the prepper's homestead, steal the egg, and assassinate the resident of the egg, who was a Christ, some sort of evangelical Jesus Christ that the eggs protected. The game involved various characters inspired from video games and gaming culture, from fantasy video games culture. Like there was an oracle, and we were also connected to an actual oracle played by Aliki Stenu, an actress, impersonating some kind of bilingual, trilingual oracle, and she was casting spells against the Golden Horde. And as a dungeon master, I was on the side of the preppers, helping the preppers protect their properties and food and egg, sacred egg, against the attack of the Horde. The characters of the game involve Batu. Batu is imprisoned in the center of this board. You can see some sort of a cell with the strange figure in the cell. He's Batu. Batu is the leader, so the Cade's the leader of the Golden Horde. The Golden Horde is trying to free Batu in order to organize an attack against the preppers. And there is a voluptuous beast as well, somewhere there, on the front side of the board. The badge. The badge is a figure inspired by an existing figure in Dota, this kind of fantasy, popular fantasy video game. And the badge is a neutral character, and which appears in the more recent versions of the Readiness SAGA as well. And actually, all different sides were trying to activate the badge and persuade badge to be a member of the of their own clan. Anyway, I think that Theo has a sneak view for this.
Yeah. Hi, Richard. Should we reply to Richard? Richard is asking, is there a specific hero or villain, and who should we root for? I mean, everyone has to root for the Dungeon Master. He's the absolute hero and villain. I can show a small clip from here.
As the Bible tells me so.
Now, this is very basic for the preppers. This is basic for the preppers. Which Silicon Valley famous investor has a preppers banker in New Zealand? Find out. Come on. Help the prepper survive. Which Silicon Valley famous investor has a preppers banker in New Zealand? It's an easy one. Google it. Find out.
Bex has replied, Elon Musk.
Is it Bex or Bex or? But it's a no. It's a no. Bex, that's a failure.
Dustin Road has replied, Bill Gates.
Almost. It starts with a P, and the other name starts with a T. And in between, there are some E's. Come on.
Andreas Galanos has replied, Peter Thiel.
Yes.
Peter Thiel It's Peter Thiel. Yes, indeed. Bravo, Andreas. Bravo, Andreas.
Yeah, I wanted to say also that it's one of the aspects of the work that was interesting was that we were trying to I mean, that's maybe, Pablo has a question.
Yes, I have a question in generally because you have been talking about 3 episodes. So to make clear, this is the first one. It's the beginning of the whole game, of the whole project, and this was before the pandemic. Am I right?
This was during the pandemic.
During the pandemic, okay.
And it was interesting for us. I think this is more commonplace right now, but this was right when the pandemic started, and we had to make this project in a couple of weeks. So we were trying to, and we were all in different countries and different places. So we wanted to quickly improvise and use this video chat as a format for a performance. We each one of us built their own costume at home. It was actually the beginning where it was the total lockdown, where we couldn't even like exit our homes or find any resources. So it was totally makeshift. Whatever we had at home, we had to make a costume, and we had to make like some kind of video backdrop for our performance. Alexis Fidegis, who was also performing with us, and is one of the lead collaborators in the Readiness SAGA. He set up a tent in his house and opened up a fire pit. Kostis built his own like miniature set, and I was building this multi-channel video control room. Aliki made her mask and background. Yeah, and it was a very interesting situation to have such limited resources and time and try to put something together. And this, I think, also defined in some ways the whole ethos of the whole project. This is it has been in development during the lockdown, and we are trying to do everything in a very DIY and quick and dirty way, even if that's not necessarily how we always work. Yeah, and this leads us to the next chapter. This happened in October here in Athens. There was a very small window where we were allowed to coexist in the same space for a little while. So we gathered a small performance team, and we decided to use LARPing, live action role playing. For those of you who are not familiar, is basically a format of a game where players have to wear costumes, not always, but most of the times, and act out a scenario in real life. And that scenario usually will take quite a long time to play. So the players have to really get into character and really develop the way they talk and the way they interact with each other, and really immerse themselves into some kind of narrative and world. And we found that this format was actually really fitting to the way the project was developing. There was this additional team that joined the party, the Boogaloo Boys, taken from reality, and maybe Kostis wants to talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, so well, these are the real Boogaloo Boys. We didn't have access to them. They didn't take part in what we did, but we had our collaborators and our players dressed in a very similar manner. This set of characters that we developed in the first step of Readiness, the Dungeon and Dragons session, will help us develop further a set of new characters, enlarging the theme of the game. And so in this new session, the LARP session, we also had a group of preppers, mostly herbalists, tasked to develop some sort of fungus that can kill the golden horde. We had another set of people role playing the Boogaloo Boys. The Boogaloo Boys is an actual sort of fringe community of armored accelerationists in the US at the moment, a type of alternative militia which wishes to bring over a new round of civil war that will actually exterminate all existing state structure and prepare the ground for some kind of white supremacist fantasy of building a pure white ethnic community. They are dressed up in this Hawaiian shirts and this tactical gear that they carry on them, and they try to infiltrate all sorts of social movements, such as the Black Lives Matter movement, in order to sort of cause as much mayhem as they can. Their idea is to accelerate conflict in order to produce a new civil war. So this is they bear various similarities with the preppers. Yeah, this is a main inspiration for the Boogaloos. It's a mid 80s movie, the Breaking to Electric Boogaloo. It's sort of a cult movie from the 80s with breakdance gangs which struggle against big corporation, and this is the framework that they used as a point of reference in order to produce memes on 4chan and 8chan and all this kind of forums that assisted them in developing a kind of online fringe community and identity. They represent a form
Pablo
of
wants to ask something, I think.
Yeah,
Pablo?
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I wanted to add that this is your inspiration, this Boogaloo Boys, and actually the Boogaloo Boys is a small part of a huger movement. The Boogaloo Boys maybe are the most colorful ones, and it's maybe important or useful to add that there is a lot of groups in the US actually which are armed, which are white supremacists. So I thinking about, for example, 3%ers or the there are a lot of. I think the 3%ers is the biggest one.
The Oath Keepers as well.
The Oath Keepers, also the Proud Boys, which have been people talking about that. And maybe last thing to add, it's important to say that a lot of participants from these groups have been in the attack of the Capitol at the beginning of January. So it's very weird when I see you or hear you talking about all this as a game, and the reality is parallel. So you are anticipating something through a game, through a very ludic performance, or how to denominate it, but it's very dangerous and very strong actuality, a very strong movement in the contemporary society of the United States. So it was maybe a small ad.
Yep. Yes, indeed, we are trying to link certain elements of public life in the U.S. At the moment through a method of performing things from a distance. There is a funny and othering and alienating aspect in that, in the fact that we are mimicking some existing identities and groups while we reside in both of us were in Athens at this point of time, and we were gathering information through the various media outlets and the news and the internet and so on. So a funny detail about the Boogaloo's is that they have this expression, they have this idea of the big fest, the big luau, as they say, which is a kind of Hawaiian fest where everybody eats pig roasts. They have this fascination with the pigs, and also the cops are the pigs for them. Their main enemies, state authorities, and the cops, who wish to take their guns away. They have a hate against the cops as well. They fight against the cops, which they depict as pigs. And it was about that time when we were sort of researching this culture of the Boogaloo's that this happened, and this was the Elon Musk experiment with display of the Neuralink project, the presentation of the Neuralink project, which took place just a couple of months before our LARPing project, in which
here, Kostis?
Yep.
Yeah. By the way, Pablo, we will be talking a lot more about we are following parallel timeline, and we will get to the Capitol coup as well. So I think we will reply to your question more. But yeah, going back to thank you, Andrea, for your question. We'll save it for a sec, and we will get to this point in a bit. So for Elon's presentation, it is this new Neuralink, which is a microchip that is implanted on the skull, on the brain, and interfaces between interfaces with the brain, reading neural activity. And the interesting thing, and that was a little bit of a publicity stunt / failure, was the fact that Elon decided to do a public demonstration of the Neuralink in operation in these 3 pigs. And maybe, Kostis, you will describe what happened.
And yeah, we basically we joined 2 different situations: the Boogaloo fascination with pigs and Elon Musk's experiment, and we set up a cage where the imprisoned members of the Golden Horde would reside, and then the Boogaloo boys were tasked to safeguard the imprisoned members of the Golden Horde, and simultaneously they would carry out a bootleg Neuralink experiment on those pigs. But before going public, we also published this one, which is fake news. It's a fake announcement of an experiment happening in Norway by Norwegian preppers testing bootleg Neuralink on human pigs. Well, as you will see further on, this image was important for the development of this part with the pigs. And this is the set of the LARP. This is the chamber LARP, and it was the setting that we crafted in order to host the activity that took place in between 3 consecutive days. There is an arsenal, there is an egg, which is a home to a sacred figure, some kind of non-binary Jesus Christ, played by also a non-binary person, by a performer, Lia Smaragda. There is a tent which belongs to the herbalist preppers, and there is a cage for the caged members of the Golden Horde, and there is also a Golden Horde lair behind the actual setting of the egg, where the Golden Horde prepares itself to attack the preppers. The members of the Golden Horde, the players of the Golden Horde, were tasked to steal those weapons, steal everything they can. The preppers were supposed to develop methods to assassinate the Golden Horde, and the Boogaloo Boys were actually safeguarding. They were safeguarding the caged Golden Horde.
Pablo wants to ask something.
Yeah.
Yeah, short question. The scenery you have there, it looks like to be in a theater room or something. That was the first question. And the second question, while you made this performance, it was possible to have public inside, or it was a internal thing?
No. Theo, you want to describe
that? Yeah, it was. This was in a dance studio that we rented out for a month or so, and it was basically not being used at the time because of the pandemic, and no, we couldn't have a live audience. So this was we followed the sort of situation of the chamber LARP, which is basically a contained simulation environment where only the performers were able to be there. And we had a streaming apparatus, let's say, like a whole set of cameras and a computer that was streaming the whole LARP as it was happening for the entire time. So it was more of an open performance space in a way. We only had a few pages of script for 3 days of performing. So it was a very improvisational situation. We asked the performers to let me actually show a few more things here. We asked the performers to inhabit a role and a character, and then really become that character and stay like that for the whole 3 days of being together. And we wanted to really create a situation for possibilities and improvisation to come out, and we wanted the performers to have the agency to resolve conflict with each other and see really what mixing up these sort of extremist groups together and really have them play out a lot of really try to get into the mindset of these characters, basically. Should we talk a little bit more about the different characters, Kostis?
Yes, like for example, this is Yeso that we see right now. This kind of non-binary sacred figure that inhabited the egg. The egg is the trophy of the game. So the Golden Horde eventually was trying to steal the egg, to sort of carry the egg towards the Golden Horde lair. And the preppers were trying to avoid this. The Boogaloo boys were a bit neutral, so they somehow enjoyed the conflict between the Horde and the preppers without actually intervening and safeguarding the preppers. There was also an oracle up there on the throne that you saw. This is the oracle. The preppers were bribing the oracle to help them cast spells against the Golden Horde. So as you can imagine, this is a mixture of fantasy role playing and real, actual social references from the actual political reality of the time. This is the caged Batu, the leader of the Horde, and the Horde is trying throughout the game to free Batu. And of course, there was a script and scenario, a basic scenario, including at least 3 acts that the players were supposed to play. But of course, they could also deviate from this scripted scenario in order to produce their own iterations. The scenario concluded with the Golden Horde taking the upper hand, caging the preppers and the Boogaloo boys, producing a manifesto for the Golden Horde, for the empowerment of the Golden Horde. A Golden Horde activist, played by the player Marilia Kesser, was invited to develop that manifesto of the Golden Horde, which basically happened to be an iteration of the scam manifesto by the popular famous scam manifesto by Valery Solanas, which is an attack against patriarchy and men. And in this manifesto of the Golden Horde version, the Horde activist exchanged the men with the preppers. So she spoke about the preppers as a biological accident that has to be annihilated, and the useless of preppers and prepping culture. And the last part of the game was a meme producing session where the Golden Horde would use the image of the caged preppers and Boogaloo boys in order to produce empowering memes for the Golden Horde. So in a sense, this also partly answers the question regarding the way we adopt these identities and we play with them. But it's more complicated than that, and it's certainly more ambivalent than that. We will return to this probably.
Another aspect of that maybe replies to part of the question earlier is that we were interested in creating this kind of sort of experiment, or like a laboratory or a simulation of a situation. So this was more an enacted thought experiment, where started from looking for a way to have these ideas coexist and commingle in a very tight space, and put performers in a specific mindset and seeing how these very extreme ideologies can resolve conflict with each other. And I think that this is an important aspect of games in general and how they operate in our culture and society. They are often this device for testing out ideas, even if they are ideas that are generally thought of as toxic or counterproductive to the society. This yeah, and we will get back to that again in a bit, but going to the third chapter of the Readiness Saga, because we are also already, I think, around 55 minutes in. Sorry, something is happening here. This next chapter is called Mutants of Readiness. It happened at the same time where another harsh lockdown was being in effect in Athens. So we had to really go back to like a really small team, which was basically the two of us. We reused some of the assets that we built from the previous performance, but here we wanted to really duplicate this system of enclosure and try to contain ourselves within this egg shell structure. We broadened the mythos of the egg, and we thought about it as this homestead that these two characters were building out. Maybe Kostis, you want to add about the characters, and I have some sketches of the AI egg coming up.
So now this strange homestead, the eggstead as we call it, is the bunker, the home of the two preppers that pre-existed and were also protagonizing in the previous sessions. So I play prepper Pigo, a mutated prepper who has a Neuralink attached to his forehead, and this Neuralink has caused a certain mutation. He's now a more huge and strong prepper. And my colleague is Gustave. Yeah, I mean, these images were produced like 20 days before the Capitol events. They look a lot similar, and I guess that happened because we were following that aesthetics and we were kind of synthesizing different elements from that aesthetics, and we somehow forecasted this public theater that took place a few weeks later. Anyway, we installed this homestead in an empty corporate building, semi-empty corporate building, and we inhabited this egg for a period of time, starting to talk to an artificial intelligence system that inhabits the egg. Pascale is an interlocutor, an AI that controls the egg and enrolls the scenarios of preparedness. So you have the idea of an AI that protects the preppers, updates their knowledge and behavior of preparedness. These are AI-produced images that served as prototypes to rebuild and reshape the egg to a prepper's bunker, a prepper's homestead. So an actual AI was kind of inspirational machine to produce this new version of the project. And we also had to get in touch with the world outside. So we decided to contact Joshua Citarella, a well-known American artist and author, and a specialist on sort of fringe digital ideologies of the post-internet era. And Joshua Citarella developed a character which would appear in the Mutants of Readiness session. Jaws, this was the character built by Joshua Citarella, an expert on the history of preppers and preparedness, that evaluated the homestead, our knowledge and tactics of prepping, and we were really shocked and really in awe to await for the evaluation of this expert, Joshua Citarella. And I think that we have a...
Should I play some clips?
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna actually play the part of the performance first, and then we can look at Joshua's clip.
Yep.
This, okay.
Okay, Pico, you know what time it is right now?
What is it?
You know what we do every single day?
What is that we do?
Remember Pascale. Pascale is our artificial intelligence, our very own homegrown artificial intelligence that is helping us protect the egg. It is the one thing we have against major attacks.
Yeah.
Pascale is a genius, but Pascale is a little bit emotionally unstable, let's say. So what we do is we help train Pascal with human generated data to help him sort of soften his sentimental qualities. So what we want from you is we want your help in training Pascale together. So we will be showing you a series of images that Pascale has generated, and we have to help tag or name these images for Pascale together. Okay, let's take it. Shh, don't say it yet. They have to say it.
I know what it
What do you
is.
think? What do you think this is?
That's a relative of mine. It's a piece of relative. Oh, it's the Vargranark. Oh?
Huh? People, you're not helping us. Gorbo, Shrek, Aunt Pickle. These are all great. Okay, you have to keep posting because Pascale is going to take all this data from you. It's going to take all this data and then it's going to do like the neural synapses thing. Oh!
Oh, that's a Gorgonok, and this is a fucking golden Hordian.
Okay, actually, I'm not gonna play any more of this, Kostis, because we are pretty low on time now. But maybe also, Shasha, you wanna play the Jaws's clip, the other one. The other one.
Something is stuck, no?
Inspiring.
Now listen up, guys. Listen close. I know that you're worried. Sometimes it feels like there is no way for us to move forward. But you've got to remember, everything we've done, everything we believe in, has been built on the work of preppers who came before us. And after each failure, they would get back up. They would keep fighting for what they believed in. It's tough right now, yeah. But imagine the trash steaders of the 2060s, or the monarcho ship posters of the 2010s. Imagine the blockchain communizationists of the 40s and previous, or the crypto-anarchists that occupied the net before Web 2.0 was even written. Imagine how they must have felt. And in spite of the overwhelming despair they felt each time they got knocked down, their work built the path that we walk on now. And though sometimes it may feel as if there is no path forward for us, no opportunity for us to succeed, the fact remains that at this moment, even now, we are closer than ever before to achieving the world that we want to. Love, John.
Inspirational, and we really try to live up to your expectations, and we're looking forward.
Great.
Yeah, super. Thank you for this short insights into the action. Yeah, maybe you can go on. You have been talking about the third part of the saga, or we also could switch to the questions. There are some questions I saw, but
We
it's
have,
up to you.
Sasha,
It's
can we
up to
go
you.
back to the presentation?
Yes. Okay.
And we do have a couple of images from the Capitol coup, and we also have one last video afterwards. But we can also, I mean, we are taking questions, so maybe we'll have quite some time to talk. Kostis, did you want to should we address this one again?
Yes, sure. There's also a video that we want to play that somehow presents this more recent step. It's a video produced out of the material of the footage of the LARP. I guess we should also find the time to stream it if possible. But I'd say that there's always a dangerous aspect in mimicking things and in playing around with things. But it's a shared danger. It's a danger both shared by both the recipients and the ones playing and role playing those games. I think from the viewpoint of the artist, this is a method to reclaim a certain playful aspect that in the recent years has been associated with fringe communities and identities that we all fear of in many ways, and it's a way to reclaim also some of the playful strategies that seem to be very crucial to politics and to the political itself. I mean, the politics has a performative and a playful aspect and a role-playing dimension in it that we should also safeguard against the voices that call for an entire eradication of this playfulness in politics. And if the Capitol coup means something, at least to my eyes, then this is that this playfulness in politics was for a long time abandoned or surrendered to the wrong camp. So you may understand what we do as a method to reclaim and to test this playfulness, which certain times, in certain occasions, produces or forecasts very dystopian present that is yet to be revealed in a sense. And this has happened with both the LARP and the Mutants of Readiness experience. The images we produced were so similar to what happened just weeks after. Yeah, I don't know if this is good for an answer, but this is a starting point to sort of unlock the role of mimesis and of the mimetic in this practice that we seek to develop. Yeah, and now also let me say that the next step is to rework the material that was produced, the footage that was produced by Readiness, by the LARP, into a video piece or video installation titled Readiness Civil War, the one that you can see right now. It will somehow present the events of the LARP through the randomize of an AI, of some sort of singularity, through selected by an AI, and this is the most recent step that we are developing right now. And somehow the trailer that we will present is displaying this thought that we have at the moment. Theo?
Yeah.
What happened? The video is not playing.
Sasha, you want to play the video in full screen?
Yeah, super. Thank you. Very nice clip. Yeah, please go on with description of what we just saw, please.
Yeah, I think we should open it up to questions from the audience now. And also, Pablo, if you had any other questions as well.
Yes, question which refers to the role game. When you have talking about it, I remember in our youth times when we have been, I don't know, 14, 15 years, we had sessions of Dungeon and Dragons sessions, which duration was several days, and we have been closed in one of the room in one of the houses of our friends and playing the whole time. Obviously, to be enclosed with a group of people for a longer period, it causes tensions, it causes discussions, it causes maybe I don't know, discussions over the procedure, how to act, how to go on. Maybe it would be interesting to know something about the personal thing while you have been doing that. So what was the feeling? Because obviously you go inside this role, you play your character, but there's also the real time and the real situation. So you have to eat together, you have to sleep. How does this work during a period of 3 days performing?
Theo, you wanna describe that? Or?
Sure. Yeah, that was an interesting aspect that we wanted to push. I mean, we really have to thank our performers here for agreeing to participate in this madness, but we wanted to make it as an immersive experience as possible. So one of the, like, we didn't manage to do it to achieve it in its full, but one of the things we did, like, we actually had our dinners inside the set, and we ordered takeaway food and ate it around the fake fireplace, and tried to, like, constantly be in character and try to see how, even if all these characters are from different factions and are enemies in the game, what if they, like, for some time they have to mingle together and eat food together as these characters, and how would that feel? And really trying to push this push this as a habitation experiment as well, like how do we live together in such a condensed space. And of course this is also something that the lockdown has caused to a lot of us. Like, we might have to live this intense experience with roommates or with family for really extended periods of time.
Yeah, we also produced a guide for the participants that would help them develop their own characters and experience that as an immersive sort of situation. So, for example, one of the rules that was suggested was that there is a default set of moves and actions for every character, things that he or she does when nothing special is happening. The idle condition of a character is also part of the role. So there was a description of what to do in case nothing particular is happening around. And although there was a scenario that was meant to galvanize a suspense and a tension, build up a suspense and a tension in this span of 3 days, we had many detours, and we had many breaks and many moments to sort of debrief what was happening and restage certain moments that interested us. So I think that in a sense we also we deviated from a typical LARP method by producing moments of reflection, distancing, rethinking, and so on. But there were also intense moments of self-humiliation and self-exposure in manners that are not always pleasant. For example, the session with the three pigs caged in the cage with the Neuralinks and with the Boogaloo boys installing Neuralinks on the foreheads of the pigs. It was humiliating for both parts in a sense, for both the impersonators of the Boogaloo boys and the caged members of the horde, and a prepper was there as well. So there are moments of shyness, there are moments of self-othering and self-distancing, but also moments of immersion and of discovering things we can do. And some of these things are devastating, and others are empowering in some way.
Should we reply to the other question? I think we don't have a lot more time. Yeah.
Yeah, there was that question.
So in terms of the AI training for the video, I mean, we haven't gotten super deep into it yet, but the idea is that I think we're more interested in using pre-existing training sets and trying to formulate an AI that has a sort of outsider perspective to this situation, that will try to evaluate the different situations that happened. Of course, this is like, to do this to its full extent would probably be a very complex AI process. But we are interested in analyzing like posture and facial expressions during different moments, and trying to unpack some of the emotions that were going on through the performers as they were going through it. And also trying some spatial analysis and seeing how they were occupying different parts of the playing area.
Okay, there we have again the question I think Kostis already said something about, but of course it's not so easy. I think first thing to play these roles, to interiorize the characters you are playing on the one hand, which is a very personal thing. I think everybody who or for example actors which have to interiorize for a while into the character and repeating several mimics or several gestics, and that's very, I think, a very important thing to be able to develop or to present actually this this theater or this game. But on the other hand, there's an important aspect with reality. Kostis, you already talked about it. Maybe you can go a little bit further with that, because on the one hand, of course, you make the mimicry, you are copying realities in a ludic way, using your own time, body, experiences, etc. pp. But on the other hand, the reality is running parallel. No? There is a reality which is absolutely not funny in that sense. No, how do you work this two extremes in a personal way? I'm talking. So maybe you can describe a little bit of that experience. And then after that, if we have a last clip, we can close with that. I don't know. It's up to you how to.
We don't have another one, so let's take
Okay.
some last questions if there are any others, and then we can wrap it up because it's getting late.
Yes. Okay. So Kostis, could you come again to this?
Yeah. I'm not sure whether this is the last questions. I can't see I don't have access to the questions. But I mean, I would say that reality is also as at the same time both dangerous and ridiculous. And this practices wish to accommodate both features of social and political reality at the moment. We do not wish to exclude the sort of the dangerous dimension of it all. We wish to find ways to account for it, or to sort of to display it, to impersonate it, to sort of to visualize it, if possible. And of course, this is a testing ground. This is not. It's some sort of an isolated situation with very specific conditions. But it should not be. It shouldn't be as safe as we wish reality to be. It should be also open to accommodate dystopian and undesired situations, and test certain limits, which happen to be our own limits as well, to a certain extent. So whatever danger means, then this is also a part of it. Yeah, it's also part of what we do. Yeah, in a sense.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I think if there is nothing more, of course, we could go on talking hours and hours about the project, about the ideas coming up. Maybe a last short question: how is it going on? How did you plan it? Is there a fourth part in work?
Yeah, this is the clip we showed now in the end is based on the documentation of the LARP, but we are basically going through this process of unpacking what happened in the LARP and using this artificial intelligence as a new way of looking into this documentation in this situation, and recontextualizing it, or trying to, if we see this as the first phase of an experiment, where it was the actual like lab, now we want to zoom out and try to come up with some outcome out of that experiment, basically.
Okay, fine. Last thing, how it's possible to follow you, to follow the next steps. I saw that Kostis was posting on Facebook. You also have this this website, their own one. And do you have some other possibilities to inform people when it's going on, newsletters or something like that, for the audience to know if they want to follow?
Yeah, probably. I mean, if Sasha wants to share my screen again, we have temporary project website, but we might be, I think we will be posting new things about the project here as well. And then in our social media, Kostis and I are always making announcements about upcoming stuff.
Okay.
There's links to the performances that we've already done. So, we can share these links to with you, and you can share them with the audience as well. so they can watch the existing footage.
Okay, let's do that then. You send me the link and I will post it for tomorrow, so people can watch the complete performances if there is the interest. Okay, I think we have 1 hour, 40 minutes plus minus. So thank you very much for this introduction into your work. Hopefully it will go on and people following. For me, it was super interesting, super clear, because at the beginning, it's really, really hard to understand what's happening there. So thank you very much for this explanations, for your time, for your energy. And yes, hopefully see you soon again. You know, we will going on with the work here, OKK platform, in special this series of CAT, Critical Artist Talks. The next week we will have a talk with Diego Castro, a colleague from here, from Berlin. He is an artist, a musician and writer, and has a very interesting oeuvre also to show. So that will be the next week at the same time, 21 hours in Berlin. And yeah, again, thank you very much.
Thanks for hosting us.
Thank you, Pablo,
It's an honor for us, for OKK, for the platform, and also thanks to Sasha.
Thank you, Sasha, for the behind-the-scenes work.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes working and administrating the platforms and so on. Okay, then
it was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure, of course. Wish you good night, and we are in contact. And I will wait for the links to share it on the website and on the Facebook site. Thank you, Kostis.
Thank you.
Thank you, Theo.
Thank you.
Bye.